Straighten out my area real quick. Back with another video. Alright, so what I want to talk to y'all today about is the things I wish I knew, or the things I wish I learned in my early teens, or maybe even my early 20s. I'm 28 years old right now, but a few of the things I wish I would have learned, or wish somebody would have told me in the earlier parts of my life will help me to succeed now. We get into this image or this idea of wanting to win, succeed, ball, do our thing at a younger age. And some of these things that I'm going to share with you can help push you into that direction or help you get to that point faster. So, things you should know in your 20s. Wrote it down in my little journal. I'm going to use it as a reference point. Basically, it all comes down to discipline, structure, and sacrifice. The discipline part is how long can you go towards your goal or your dream without falling off, okay? That's the discipline part. The structure, how are you going to shape it? Like, what are you going to do to get there? And this is repetitive over and over and over every single day, week, month, for however long it takes for you to get to your goal or your dream, okay? Sacrifice. I said in a couple of my earlier videos, sacrifice. Sacrifice are the things that you're comfortable with, the things that make your life easy right now. What are you willing to give up to push in that direction? For me, the discipline part for me is getting up every day and going to work. Why am I going to work? Because I'm taking that money and I'm investing it into, one, myself. I'm investing it into stocks, cryptocurrencies. And three, I'm like putting the money into places or putting the money into things that can help make my life easier for later on. Okay, it's sacrifice. Most of the time, I don't go out, I don't party, I don't hang out with people. You got to be around like-minded people. Now, how do you do this part? One, you have to know who you are as a person, okay? It's very important to know who you are as a person. Now, because this is a video for teens and people in their early 20s, this could be for people in other age groups or other age parts of their life. It's very important to figure out who you are as a person first. Understand what you're capable of, understand what's your trigger points, understand the things that can upset you or get you kind of rattled or thrown off from the direction you want to go with your life. It's very important to figure these things out, because when they arise in your life, you can become aware and know how to enter that space or to avoid that space. I know there are places and times for me at work. There are people I avoid. There are people I keep conversation minimal with. There are people that I don't engage with at all. And I prepare myself. I do all of this before I get to work. Okay, you're dealing with this. You're going in here dealing with this person. So you got to move accordingly. A lot of times, we as people want to treat everyone the same. And what I mean by that is, we want to, if I talk to this person this way, I assume that I can talk to every single person that way, or treat everybody the same. Everybody's not the same. So the reason why you must know who you are is because the amount of people you allow in your life, the more encounters, the more different moods and mindsets you have to deal with every single person. Everybody's not the same. Everybody didn't come from the same background or environment. Next, you got to figure out the direction you want to go in your life. That goes back to the structure, discipline, and sacrifice, and understanding. You have to figure that out. You got to figure that part out. Figure out the direction you want to go. Whatever goals and dreams you have for your life, write it down. Figure it out. If you need some help on figuring those things out, check out Earl Nightingale, Bob Proctor, 19 Keys. Those are 3 people that can help you figure out the direction you want to go in your life. All right, they kind of help you figure out who you are as a person, figure out the things. It's basically learning yourself, knowing yourself. And I've been learning how to do this for the past 2 to 3 years. I started off struggling in my life. Oftentimes, I felt like I was a loser. I felt like I wasn't getting things done in my life. And when I started looking at the history, basically the history of your life will show you where you are currently. And just from being around the wrong crowds, being around people who waste time, I was losing. The more nonsense and BS you cut out of your life, the more you win. Okay? And pick up some books. Pick up some books. Pick up some books. You know? You gotta read. It's okay to pick up a book and read sometimes. It's alright to read sometimes. You gotta understand that one, because you carrying yourself a certain way or because you're moving in a certain direction, you have to also understand that everybody's not moving in the same direction as you. So you're going to get some pushback. You're going to get some people who may talk about you, laugh at you. And this is very important in high school and college, because the people around us influence our decisions and opinions so much. Sometimes the way you feel and think, they didn't come from you. They came from the ones that you've been hanging around or the ones you associate yourself with. So it's very important to understand yourself. Once you understand yourself, you have to know that. Then you'll understand the groups of people that you're around. You'll know who to be around based off of where you want to go with your life, and you'll also know who not to be around. You'll know how to cut conversations short. You'll know how to avoid certain situations. There are a lot of people, not necessarily you watching this video, I don't know your background of life or situation or story, but there are a lot of people like where I grew up at. Bad choices and hanging around the wrong groups of people cause them to lose their life early, and sometimes it caused them to have to go do some time in jail. Now, that's not a bad thing all the time, because sometimes it takes certain situations to happen for you to learn yourself and know, hey, I made a mistake. But you got to also understand, out here in the world is full of second chances if you admit to what you've done. Like, hey, this is what I did, this happened, boom, boom, boom. But the world is also unforgiving, and they try to keep that stain on your name based off of the past you had when you was a child, when you was a teen. All right, so your teen years, your 20s is very important, okay? And you got to also understand, within a few weeks, months, and years, things will change. The people you once hung around, the people you grew up around, they might not be there in a couple of weeks, months, or years. You might have had a relationship with a girl you liked in high school currently or in college, but you never know. That guy or that girl that you're with, they could go to a whole nother city and state for school. Long distance is tough. And the reason why I'm wanting you to understand the long distance is tough is because it's the mental with everything that you have to be aware of. And the mental part is, you can't be focused or worried about what he or she is doing in several states over from where you at, and you're supposed to be locked in on this basketball game. You're supposed to be locked in on this football game. You're supposed to be locked in for this science lab, this math quiz that you're supposed to take. Small pockets, these small steps matter, because over time you'll see why your grades are the way they are. You'll see why you didn't get accepted into this college. You'll see why you didn't get the job or this place you wanted to go. But you also got to understand, because you're young, you got time to make mistakes. You got time to fail. But it's also very imperative that we understand which failure points that we're allowing in our life. Okay? You got to understand that moving through life, things get tough, things get difficult. So the same people that you was once friends with, the same people that you was once cool with, life happens to them the same way it happens to you. And because of the environment, the way this world is set up, you can sometimes get put into positions or places where your thoughts aren't clear, or you make decisions based on today. So there are going to be some people in your life that you encounter who are not living. They are in survival mode. And because people are in survival mode, they'll do anything to survive. And you got to be aware of that. People will use and suck up all your energy and time and space, money, whatever it is, to basically advance themselves without doing no proper work themselves, without figuring out who they are as a person. When in reality, all you need is this up here, a journal to write it out, and a couple of books from people who went through the same exact thing as you. And you can get far. You can get far, I promise you can. Okay? One thing, figure out how to invest. However early one of these investment accounts or something like that, however early you figure out how to invest, get you some books that teach you, principles of investing. There are several books in the bookstore. You don't even got to go to the bookstore. You can go on YouTube. Figure out how to invest. Figure out how to put your money into smart places. I think about this a lot, but one, that goes back to the discipline and structure. Sometimes the discipline and structure comes from losing it over and over and over and over and over again. And with time going on, you'll mature out and understand that mom and dad ain't always going to be there to take care of you. Okay? There's always going to be some support. Okay? But once you learn how to get on your own, it's always up to you, and every day is up to you. So you got to get up and continue to push every single day. There are no breaks with this. And this is why I say it's important about the decisions you make early in your life. Okay? You have to be aware of the decisions you make in your life early. Life gets hard, but it can be harder when you add extra weight to your plate, when you add extra things to your plate that necessarily didn't have to be there. But once you make a certain choice and it's there, stay with it and understand that's a part of your life now. So you got to figure out the best way possible to maneuver through that situation. You can do it. It's a lot of people out here succeeding. It's a lot of people out here winning. That goes back to these books. Check out some podcasts. Check out some books on the people who went through the same struggles as you, and they'll help you get to that point. These are some cool things that you should learn in your 20s, because by the time you turn 25, 30, you can be up a couple of dollars. You can be up on some knowledge, some wisdom. You can learn a lot of things from looking at the people who went through it before you, so you don't got to make the same mistake yourself. Okay? But yes, we must invest. Invest. Learn how to invest. Learn how to invest. Learn how to invest. You got to understand that choices lead to a harder life than what you need. Okay? Them choices matter. I'll give you an example. Now, this isn't to judge situations or to judge anything what people are doing in their life, but we all know certain encounters, certain situations that you deal with can set you back a couple of steps. And it's not necessarily hard. You just got to center yourself and focus on you. That's the number one thing. Focusing on yourself is how you get ahead. But when you add all this extra noise to what you're doing, you add all these other people to your life that distract you from where you want to go, you're still going to get there. It's just going to take longer. It's going to take longer. All you need is your roadmap, your plan, your journal, and a couple of resources that help you give you advice on where you want to go with your life. Okay? The world is going to be here. That's another thing you got to know. The world is going to be here. What do I mean by that? When you go off to college and come back home, some of them people you was with in high school, they're still going to be here. They're still going to be living in the city or state that they're in. That's sometimes a place that they love living in. That's a nice area, environment that they're comfortable there. But if you're trying to succeed and advance in your life, don't get comfortable at such an early age. Understand that you have to push. You have to push the limits. You have to grind. You have to work hard. You have to become smart out here. There is no place in this world for people who aren't educated. There is no place in this world for people who don't have knowledge and resources. Learn how to communicate. Learn how to talk to people. Learn how to carry yourself in a certain light. Never feel bad for the current position that you're in. The tables turn fast. You could be the person who was succeeding and winning and thriving in high school and college. Real world hit. And now you're in last place. Sometimes you'll be in last place And then once you get out here in the real world, because you did the necessary steps, you'll be winning. But understand, first and last place is all subjective based on who you are and perception. So what that means is there are some people that you're looking at and you're ahead of them, but you got to look like some of them aren't doing anything to succeed, to progress, to move forward in your life. So that's not a good comparison. You have to look at people who are winning and ahead of you. So it's a balance. It got to be a balance between the two, okay? But things do change fast. I'll give you an example with me. I grew up in the sports world, high school and college. Everything I did was funded. Everything I did was paid for. Then when the real world hit, because I was given these resources and opportunities without having to work for it. Granted, I did, go to the gym, work out, shoot some jump shots. But as far as like the communication and social skills, I didn't necessarily need that all the time in the sports world, because everybody wants to be a part of a winning team, a success, a journey where they can feel a part of a victory. And that's what happens in the sports world from time to time. But let me give you some clear-cut advice right now. Everybody's not going to go play professional soccer, baseball, basketball, or football. You got to understand how small that window is. Still pursue it. Use the sports to educate yourself. Use the sports to get you some free money in school. That's cool. But you got to understand, while you playing sports, also work a little job or something if you can. Invest a little money, invest a little bread. So that way when you get out of high school or college, you can have you a couple of hundreds of dollars, couple of thousands of dollars to have, so you can kind of sit back and make you know, a, a good choice. Okay? It's important to make good choices in life. Don't always be in a rush. Okay? Don't always be in a rush. Life goes fast, but once you understand life and how it works, you don't got to be in a rush. Learn to be yourself. That's one thing I wish I had learned in college and high school, is how to be myself. That's what goes back to them groups, the people that you hang with. You got to know how to be yourself, because the influence of the ones around you influence you way more than what you expect. You might not be the person who gets into a lot of trouble or carry yourself a certain way, but if you continue to hang around those groups, eventually you're going to find yourself in some positions and some situations where you don't know how you got there, because it moved too fast for you and you can't process it. But you got to understand, you got to look at your environment, your situations, your surroundings, and understand something happened that caused you to be in that position. But it always leads back to you. In this world, you got to understand, it's always your fault. In the adult world, it's always your fault. In the adult world, nobody cares about you more than you. In the adult world, nobody cares about your money more than you. And you got to understand, the closest people to you, friends, family, whatever it may be, those are the ones that know the most about you. So you must be cautious and aware of what you share with everyone. You must be cautious and aware that sometimes hardships and adversity happen because of who you let close to you. And a lot of times, love and caring for others, putting yourself last, is when you take the load of everybody else's situations and problems. So just be cautious, be aware of those things. Learn how to be you. You got to learn how to be you, okay? Because, like, I know oftentimes people, adults, teachers, principals, whatever the case may be, the dean, the president, people sometimes talk down on you because you're younger than them or you're a kid. They think you're a kid. One, you understand that just because you're 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, you still went through life too. And up until that point, you know a little something about something. So when you present yourself, when you present your opinions, when you present your ideas, you just got to know how to present it. You got to know how to say it. And be firm. It's important to learn yourself, because when you don't know who you are, the world, people will guide you in the direction they want you to go, based on sometimes the things that can benefit them, not you, or benefit the situation that they're in. It goes back to benefiting them. You got to know who you are. You got to know who you are. But the good thing about it is, you being young, you being that young person in high school and college, you got time on your side. You have time on your side. It's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. Understand that you're not going to be 16 forever. You're not going to be 17, 18, 19, 20 years old forever. Understand that high school will end, college will end. It's not a scary thing. Just life moves on. And you'll look up 4 to 5 years from now, 10 years from now, dang. Because I talk to some of my friends now, yo, we was just in high school doing this and this and that. Now imagine if in high school you invested a little bit of money. Imagine in high school, if you, in college, you put a little time towards preparing yourself. You're going to be ahead of people in the future. You're going to be winning. That's all it's about, is winning, proceeding. It's about succeeding. It's about progression. It's about winning. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are the best teacher in life. But we can control some of those mistakes we make. If you're not financially stable, it's not really necessarily smart to have kids at an early age. Life gets hard when you don't have the resources and the funds to take care of another person. If you're going to get in a relationship, guy or girl, know who you're talking to. You got to see them at their lowest, their highest, their best days, their worst days. You got to see them when they don't have, when they do have. It has to be a balance. You have to learn the whole thing. And because we don't take the time out to put time into what we're investing into, we don't necessarily learn it all the way through. What I'm trying to do is just give you some type of advice and knowledge on how to better equip yourself and prepare yourself for the real world. Because once the real world starts, it's up to you. And because a lot of people don't have the resource or the knowledge or the understanding to do stuff, they check out up here. They check out up here. They're a certain age, 50, 60, 70, 40, 30, even in 20s. Some people just check out up here. Life hits them with a blow and they cannot bounce back. If you need some advice on how to get through things like that, check out a little short video on YouTube by Ray Dalio. It's like the 5 cycles of life or the 5 stages of progression or something like that. But Ray Dalio, R-A-Y, Ray Dalio, D-A-L-I-O. And it's a little cartoon. It's like a little guy sitting in a boat along a stream. And it basically explains how when you go through things in life, there are these pockets where you take certain blows. And you're not learning yourself. You're not figuring out who you are as a person. And these blows in life have people check out where they don't even want to get back up and get in a race. But it's that repetitive cycle of failure where you keep learning and learning how to get bigger and bigger and bigger and better and better and better at the things you're doing. But that's why being in your 20s, it's okay to fail early. Don't beat yourself up. Don't give up on yourself because you failed at something in your 20s. You got a long life ahead of you. Cast your net far and wide when investing. Cast your net far and wide when trying things in school. Try different things. I centered myself around just playing basketball. I should have tried playing soccer. I should have tried playing baseball. I should have tried culinary. I should have tried Spanish class. Try playing instruments. Try different things because you never know what you're really good at. And the thing that your family was accustomed to, you might be a tradition in your family where everybody goes to the Marine, the Navy, the military, or everybody in your family goes to a specific college or university. Find your own path sometimes. It's okay. I mean, I'm not telling you to knock your family's traditions and stuff, but life is fun once you start figuring yourself out. But you got to do the work. You got to grind. You got to hustle. And you got to put that money to use to benefit you and your future. Think of yourself right now. You're 20, 19, 18 years old. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? That's too far. Think about where you see yourself next year, a year after that. If you work a job, when you get some money, take $10, $20 and put it to the side. You got it. We go spend money at Nike Factory, Polo, Nautica, Hill Figure, whatever it is, Eddie Bauer, wherever you go, Aeropostale, Hollister. You go to the fast food places a lot. We want to hang out with our friends. Some of you might smoke, some of you might drink, some of you might pay to get in the clubs and stuff. Just pull something out every week. $5. $5 every week over the next 4 or 5 years. It add up. It's about the discipline and structure. You got to see a better life for yourself. That's another thing. Once you figure yourself out, picture or write down how you picture your life. How do you picture your future? Where do you want your life to be? Where do you want your future to be? Once you figure that out, the sky's the limit. And like I always say, believe in yourself. And if don't nobody else believe in you, I believe in you. I was once the same person who struggled. I was homeless. I was living in my car. I didn't have anywhere to go. I was lost in this world. I was hanging around the wrong group of guys, hanging around the wrong groups of friends, messing with the wrong type of women. Like, all these things are the reason why people don't make it. A lot of these things are the reason why people don't make it. It's not necessarily one specific thing. It's just a whole bunch of hardships and adversities hitting you from different directions, and it's like, it'd be too much to take in. Find yourself some time to break away from the city, break away from the fast-paced life. Shut your phone off sometimes. Shut the TV off. Go take a walk in nature. Get yourself together. Get your thoughts and image together. And once you do that, life begins to get better. This isn't I did the steps, tomorrow it's going to work. No. Gradually, over time, you add a little to the pot. This is the thing that people must understand. This is always long term. No matter what you do in life, the results come long term. So whether it's good or bad, the results will show 5 to 10 years from now. The results will show 5 to 10 years from now. Which side do you want to be on? Which side do you want to be on? You can do it. You can do it. Stay blessed.